Welcome to Life Happens, where Texans come to protect their legacy and prepare for the second half of life. Join your host, attorney Kim Hegwood with Hegwood Law Group, and our weekly guest as we navigate the challenges that emerge as life happens. Now here's your host, Kim Hegwood.
Good morning and welcome to Life Happens with me, Kim Hegwood, and our very special guest today is Danna Barnes with Brookdale Senior Living. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I figure every day I get up, it's going to be a good day. So- but today we're going to talk about assisted living or memory care, which is the right choice, because we have a lot of clients that are, that are falling into that category. Because they've early diagnosis of dementia, or their dementia starting to progress. And so I guess it's really important to kind of talk about, which one, because a lot of people are very confused about that. So let's start off with something simple. And let's talk about the key differences between assisted living and memory care.
Right, because they do seem pretty similar. I would say that there's about 4 key differences between the two. Number one is going to be safety. Memory care is usually a separate area, and it has special security measures involved so that residents who might be experiencing wandering will not leave the building and be unsafe. So that's number one. Also, the way that memory care is usually built is purpose-built, we call it, which enables residents with dementia or cognitive impairment to be able to navigate the building a lot easier. So number one is safety. Number two is definitely going to be the training and the staffing in memory care. In the state of Texas, there's 20 hours of training with specific topics that the state picks that all care staff have to do before they're ever even allowed to do their job unsupervised. With memory care, those topics are dementia specific that the state picks. Both have to do continuing education. Regular care staff for assisted living has about 6 hours, but in memory care, they have double that with 12 hours of continuing education that they have to do annually. So you're going to have definitely a care staff that has more specialized training to help residents maintain their cognitive skills, and their approach to care is going to help them prevent difficult behaviors from manifesting because they understand how to communicate better with residents with dementia. A third difference is going to be the amenities. When we go into assisted living, we're seeing all the wonderful things that they've got going on in the community, and the barber shop and the outside areas, pet-friendly spaces, maybe a library or a movie theater. And memory care has similar things like that, but they've got specific areas for residents with dementia to really enjoy. When you are not processing normally, which is pretty much what happens with dementia, maybe watching TV or a movie is not quite as fun. So we might not have a movie area like you would in assisted living, for example. But what you are going to see are some more defined common areas, so they're easier to find. You're going to see some color coding hallways that are easier to navigate. You're going to see what I call, they're by different names, but I call them reminiscing stations, which are really good because what they do is they enable the resident to work with something, props and whatnot, items that maybe relate to a job they used to do in the past or a hobby or routine that they used to do. And so they're memories that they're still maintaining and are able to engage with. So you're going to see some differences in the amenities themselves. The buildings will definitely look different, but overall, you're going to have different activities. The fourth one, different activities, different programming that's happening. In assisted living, we're providing person-centered care. We want to get to know the resident. What did they enjoy doing? You don't want to pick a calendar and hope they just like it. They want it to be engaging for them and something that they enjoy. So we'll have all kinds of different things, music and bingo and, all kinds of pets coming in, parties, all kinds of things like that. In memory care, we want to make sure that the activity matches the cognitive ability and the remaining skill sets that the residents has. So even though they look similar, they're functioning different inside, so that the residents in memory care are receiving, specific care and training and approach.
So that was excellent, by the way. So that was great. So a lot of families, get that early diagnosis of dementia, and panic sets in. What should we do? Do we leave them at home? Do we move them, to a facility, some type, either assisted living, memory care, when's the best time to transition someone after they've had that diagnosis? Because I think that's important for people to know, when's the best time, because sometimes that transition's not easy.
Right. And sometimes you get a lot of resistance, and you're trying to work with that as well. Well, it just depends. Every person's different. I think we have to start with defining what is dementia, right? Dementia is a set of symptoms that affect our memory, our problem-solving ability, our language. The Alzheimer's Association says that 50% of all residents that are living in assisted living have some type of dementia or cognitive impairment. So when's the right time, right? If the resident is still engaged, if the resident is still socializing and living life, and they're still working because it's an early onset diagnosis, then, assisted living could be the appropriate environment, right? But if they're not engaging because they're having difficulty processing the activity or the music or the movie, they're not socializing because they know that they're having some memory issue and they don't want to be ostracized by other residents, or, and they kind of go off to themselves, they're not really thriving. They're not having great quality of life in assisted living, even though they're functioning, right? So that's when it's time to go to memory care. They need to be able, and it doesn't even mean that they're not able to be mobile and, all that. They just need to be able to engage. They need to be able to be a part of an environment and activities that they truly can process and be a part of. And that's how they have better quality of life. It enables them actually to retain their cognitive ability better, because they're using it in the right way, and they can thrive. So that's if they're already in a senior living environment. But what if they're at home, right? Well, some of that's the same way. How are they engaging with those that are around them? If you're the caregiver, how are you doing engaging with your loved one? Is that becoming more difficult? How are doing those daily care tasks of toileting or bathing or helping your loved one get dressed, or maybe having to lift? How is that affecting your quality of life? Is that weighing on you? Is that wearing you out? Is that speeding along, some other, difficulty in your living? So really the bottom line is, how will moving your loved one to memory care improve your quality of life and their quality of life? If we focus just on money, or it's complicated or whatnot, all it's going to do is continue to progress to become more and more difficult. So the earlier, the easier.
So we know from, clients, visiting different facilities and things like that, that memory care does cost more than assisted living.
Right.
And so why is that? When you think about, maybe in assisted living, you're doing a lot of the same things you're doing in memory care.
Great question. We're in the same building, right? We're just off in a separate space. Why does it cost so much more? Pricing for senior living includes different factors. The location of the community, the room size that your loved one's living in. Is it a shared space with someone else? So those things go into it. According to a 2021 cost of care survey by Genworth, assisted living has a median average right now of about $4,500 a month, and memory care's got $5,430 a month median, right? Could be higher, could be lower, depending on where you live. But, in memory care, we have that higher staff ratio with more specialized training, more one-on-one attention. So you've got higher care needs for the memory care residents, increased incontinence, so care for that. Every maybe in assisted living, some residents are still doing okay with the bathing themselves, but everybody in memory care needs assistance with that. Sometimes they need assistance with feeding because, as the dementia progresses, they lose more and more skills. And so they need more and more help. And because of that, it costs more. Some memory cares are actually all inclusive in their pricing. So that's kind of nice.
Yes, that most definitely is. And so, we talked a little earlier about, when they've gotten the diagnosis, should they move directly into a community? And so, but how do you know when the right time is to move them from either home to memory care or from assisted living or independent living to memory care? How do you know it's the right time?
Well, I guess it just goes back to the individual. You just really have to, what is the quality of their life? How is their day-to-day living? Are they engaged? Are they active? Are they enjoying? I mean, for crying out loud, we're retired at this point. We should be having a great time, So are they enjoying their life, or are they set apart? And, everybody's personality is different. So, your mom, your dad, they might kind of already be sort of an introvert, but if they're always sitting off to the side, they're not actually enjoying the programming in assisted living or independent living, or even what you're providing at home. They're not living life. They're not thriving. So that's one is them, right? How is it going for them? But number two is the caregiver, because you're only as good as how healthy you are and how sane you are. I mean, it's hard, right? Keeping 1,000 medications, 1,000 doctor appointments and schedules and all kinds of things in your head for someone else while you're trying to live your own life. What I love about senior living, when you make that move, it enables you to go back to being the family member, and it takes that caregiving burden off of you. You now have a whole team of people joining you to care for your loved one, and you have more time to focus on your life too, which just makes you a better family member.
Well, that's a very good reason, to do that, because I know, a lot of caregivers, their health declines, they go through depression, they don't take care of themselves as well as they should,
Right.
So, but let's talk about a problem that we see a lot in my practice too. That the child that's not here,
Yeah.
how do you keep them in the loop and assure them that mom or dad is getting the best care when they're not here to see it?
Yes, that can become very difficult. So when the sibling who's not witnessing the daily life and they just don't understand, you're trying to tell them, but they don't really comprehend it because they're not experiencing it themselves. And the best advice that I have for that is you just have to equip them with information. Utilize the diagnosis information that the doctor gives you. Share with them what the doctors are saying and the other clinicians are saying. Share with them the test results and the lab results and all that, so that they can see what's happening systemically, physically, and from a diagnosis perspective with your loved one. So more information sometimes is helpful. I think what's a great idea is even just a little bit of a respite. Every caregiver needs that from time to time. Wouldn't that be great if your sibling actually did have a chance to come in and see mom for a minute and, come have lunch or come go on a little shopping and see what it's like, see what that day is like in person. And maybe there might be some greater appreciation for that. But, I have to say this, I'm an only child, Kim. So I always win the arguments, but I have, my husband has sisters. So I have sisters that way. I've got great friends and everything. And sometimes, you just don't agree. And that might be a great time to go ahead and bring into that conversation an objective third party, like maybe a geriatric care manager, that can help. A lot of times that third party is not tied up in the emotions of everything, or the guilt, or the concern of what will happen, or the finances, that kind of thing. And they can really be objective and be a great advocate for your loved one. So that might be helpful. But truly, as the caregiver that's there doing the daily caregiving, it is very important for you to reach out and ask for help. And that's difficult sometimes for your siblings to understand. So even if you don't have that support right now, please, please, please reach out to other people and get support that you need that will enable you to continue along or give you a respite, or, so that you also have a good quality of life and you're thriving. We all want to do that.
Most definitely. So Danna, how do they find you?
Oh, okay. Well, I have a cell phone. You can call me, but I also have an email address. I think it's there on the screen. Do I give my number? Can I give them?
Read the email address for the people that are.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so my email address is D for Dana Barnes, my last name with an E, 19 at brookdale.com. You can get a hold of me there.
Perfect. And so I just want to thank you so much for being on the show today. I love the good information that you've provided our listeners, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Kim. And I appreciate what you do for families and helping them.
Have a good.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Life Happens with Kim Hegwood. Be sure to tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. wherever you listen to your podcast as we navigate through the challenges that emerge as life happens. The content of this podcast does not establish an attorney-client relationship or constitute attorney-client privilege, legal, medical, financial, or any other professional advice.